I'm going to do this reading a little bit differently. I actually want to write down what we're covering together. So I know that I want this reading to reflect the start of a new year, but I don't really know what we're supposed to do here on YouTube. And the rain here has really just picked up while I've started filming this. How cool. Now that I've taken a video of that rain, let's have a look at what we're covering in today's video. Now I want this reading to be about 2026. I've designed a personal reading all around what you can expect in the year ahead. It's a very detailed written reading, and these written readings usually take me a lot more time than my audio readings because I do like to make sure that I'm being concise. I like to make sure that I'm including information that I feel is the most helpful. And so I do have to be careful about how many of these that I choose to commit to. At the time that this video is going live, I will only be able to do 10 of these written 2026 readings. If you would like to have one of those personal readings, please check the description below. Here on YouTube, we're going to clarify your 2025 journey, what you've been through in the past, and the lessons and blessings you've gained along the way. We're going to have a look at how that's preparing you for 2026. Now there will be an extended reading for this reading, just so that I can offer different ways of giving you more information. And if you don't have the funds or the need for a personal reading with me, the extended reading will be a brief summary of your 2026. The idea with the extended readings is that you watch the reading on YouTube. If the messages resonate, you most likely got more messages in your extended reading. The extended readings tend to be more specific because less people watch them. So here's what we're covering on YouTube. Here's what we're covering in the extended. In order to figure out what your messages are, you will need to select a group. I have pre-recorded 3 group readings for this 2026 reading. Make sure you take your time when selecting a group, pause the video, connect with the objects you see on the screen, and when you feel drawn towards a group, check the timestamps in the description box to join me in your reading. Angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, please tune me in to the collective that will be witnessing this video. Please help me choose messages and cards that may resonate for each of the groups in today's collective reading. For group 1, please Spirit, what card best summarizes group 1's 2025? Okay, so for group 1, we have feminine coming through. If anything about this card pulls you in, draws you in, you'll be a part of group 1's reading. Group 2, please Spirit. What card best summarizes group 2's? Wow, I'm going to take both cards just in case. So for group 2, you have the number 8 card, and you also have Yod. Now these cards are quite simple actually compared to Group 1's cards. So visually speaking, if there's anything about these cards that draws you in, you'll be a part of Group 2's reading. And Group 3, please, Spirit. What card best summarizes Group 3's 2025? We have Descendant. Wow. So this Descendant energy is very specific. I wanted to talk about it straight away, but I can't. If you feel drawn towards this card, you'll be a part of Group 3's reading. Here are the 3 groups side by side. I'm going to pull that camera closer so you can get a better look. If you need more time, feel free to pause the video. If you would like some assistance, keep watching for the quick guided meditation. When you know where to go, click on those timestamps in the description box and join me in your reading. I recently found these incense sticks while I was cleaning out my garage, and I feel that for today's reading and today's guided meditation, it would be best to use the crown chakra incense sticks, as we're attempting to gain hindsight and foresight. So this bigger picture, thinking, perception, and awareness is very in tune with crown chakra energy and the idea of connecting to source and the collective consciousness. For today's mindfulness meditation, I would like you to focus on the sound of my voice. You're welcome to close your eyes, and I will tell you when it is time to open them as well. Be aware of your body. If any part of your body feels uncomfortable or tense, adjust your sitting or standing position so that you are more comfortable. Think of your body as a vessel that is moving energy from your head to your toes, through your shoulders, down your arms, into your fingertips. Allow your body to be relaxed, comfortable, and I want you to be more aware of your feet. As funny as it sounds, what are your feet doing? Are your toes holding any tension? Do you need to release that tension by extending your legs or resting your feet flat on the ground? With this awareness of your body, continue to listen to my voice as I guide you through 3 deep, mindful breaths. Are you ready? Here's our first breath. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Ready for our last breath? Breathe in and out. If your eyes are closed, open them slowly and let them wander across the screen that you're viewing this video on. Notice how your eyes move and where they feel drawn towards. As your eyes move across the screen, allow them to unfocus slightly. Is there anything about the screen, and specifically the cards on the screen, that piques your interest? Sometimes the group that has the most messages for you stands out in peculiar ways. Is it a group that your eyes are drawn towards? Or is it the group that your eyes are having an uncomfortable time focusing on? I want you to now consciously observe each of these 3 groups and their respective cards. Notice the words on the card. Notice the movement of the artwork and imagery. Recognize how the colors make you feel as you look across them. Could be that the shadows and light interact with the cards in a unique way. If you aren't feeling drawn towards a group yet, I want you to come closer to your screen and rest it on a surface if it is a handheld device. With both hands free, I want you to raise one hand, whichever hand you intuitively choose, and place it across your chest. With your other hand, raise it across the screen. As you move your hand across the screen, notice any sensation that you feel through your hands. I'm going to be showing specific groups on the screen now. When I practice this exercise, I often feel a tingling sensation, like static coming through the screen, warming the palm of my hand. At times, other people feel a cold sensation, or something like a tickling feeling. One of these groups contains the most honest messages for you. Let your body's energetic interaction with it tell you which of these groups that is. When you have that feeling, open your eyes if they are closed and notice which group triggered that feeling. This is the end of our mindful meditation. If you would like to repeat this exercise, go to the timestamps below. If you need to pause the video, do that now. When you know which of these 3 groups you're feeling most drawn to, click on the timestamps and join me in your reading. Hi Group 1 and welcome to your reading. It is so lovely to have you all here. I just got so excited to see you guys. So you may be someone who's been following me for a while, or maybe you're people that I know personally. I'm so grateful to be able to film this video. I've been through it this year, as I'm sure we all have, but these kinds of videos definitely are more of what I'm used to. So it's a weird feeling of like coming home. Thank you so much for tuning in and trusting me with your messages. Before we continue, I'm going to go ahead and open this reading properly. Angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, please tune me in to Group 1's energy. Please help me offer Group 1 clear, honest messages about their reading today. And if there's any information that I fail to recognize, please allow it to come through clearly for Group 1 so that they may gain the clarity they need from that information. Now, if you skipped the intro, here is what we're covering today. I've created a personal reading that has an in-depth look at 2026, and the idea of doing that reading is I really wanted to create a reading here on YouTube as well that kind of helps prepare you for the year ahead. So this 2026 reading will have a look at your journey in 2025, the lessons and the blessings that you've been through. Then we're going to have a look at how that's preparing you for 2026. If this all resonates and you would like to extend your reading without getting a personal reading, the extended reading will look at a brief summary of your 2026. If you would like a more personal, detailed 2026 reading, check out the personal readings that I'm offering in the description box below. With that little spiel out of the way, I'm going to keep this close so that I can refer to it when I need to. And let's have a look. So straight away, this card is telling us a little bit about your 2025. It's helping me get a glance at what the year was like for you. I can already tell with this feminine card coming out that 2025 was ultimately about putting you back in your feminine energy. It was a year for you to feel like you could focus on your rest, like you could slow down, and like you could learn how to take better care of yourself. Now, for some of you with the Scorpion on this card, this was not something that you were mindful of. You weren't personally trying to embody this energy. For some of you, it's something that happened to you, and you may have fought against it, really trying to be in your masculine energy instead, trying to accomplish, trying to achieve. But the universe had other plans. The universe aimed at putting you in this feminine energy so that you could rest, so that you could be more in tune with your developing nature, and so that you could conserve energy. The whole point of 2025 was to allow you to conserve energy and to ultimately feel more aware of who you are and who you're becoming. This was also about practicing mindfulness and awareness instead of doing everything and hoping that something is successful. 2025 taught you that it's quality over quantity. It's not how much you're doing, it's what you're choosing to do, what you're choosing to put your energy towards, and how it's going to actually impact your life and the people around you. You may have felt like this year took more from you than it gave you, because there were definitely lessons of self-care and capacity here. This feminine energy may have been forced upon you at times, but that's not the case for all of you in this group. Some of you in this group aspired to be in your feminine energy in 2025. Some of you made it a goal, made it a plan, an aspiration to be in your thriving energy, to attract and to allow things to come to you instead of you pursuing them, chasing them. This energy is also about having trust. It's about having trust in situations where you don't know what's going to happen. You can't tell what the outcome is going to be. And so during some of your darkest times in 2025, you had to really release the desire to know everything, the desire to fix everything, and you had to trust the process. You had to trust that what is meant to be will be, and you were also taught to trust yourself. This feminine energy was a lesson in wisdom, in grace, in humility, and in being able to co-create with the universe by releasing control, by releasing the need to know everything, and by learning how to take care of who you are now. Some of you, and this was about becoming reacquainted with your nature and who you are now. Let's get some tarot to have a better understanding. Spirit, what were the key lessons in 2025 for group 1? What were the key lessons in 2025 for group 1? Okay. We have the Page of Swords. What were the key blessings in 2025 for group 1? I'm going to take both of these cards. We have the Hierophant and we have the Devil reversed. Wow, look at this interaction of energy. At the back of the deck is the Eight of Cups. And it's interesting for me because although this Page of Swords is your lesson, we're looking at it in a way where it's a sense of curiosity. It's a feeling of potential. As a lesson, Look at how that page is looking at the feminine energy. You had awareness even when you felt like you didn't really know what was going on. There was a part of your instincts that was looking curiously at the possibility. Is this a lesson? Is the universe trying to tell me that I need to slow down? Is this a sign that this situation is too much for me? Is me getting sick a sign that I'm pushing myself too far? Are the amount of challenges in this connection a sign that I'm doing too much? Your lessons in 2025 were centered around questions, curiosity, and an underdeveloped understanding. These were also your guides. Like it was an attempt to connect you to your gut instincts and to the bigger picture. These things were happening to you to show you what else is out there. And some of your really challenging moments, situations, interactions, conversations, when you think about what your challenges were in 2025, I would love for you to make a little note or list. You could do a mental note of the 3 key moments that pop up. Your challenges in 2025. What are the 3 key moments that pop up for you, Group 1? Once you have that list, whether you've written it down or it's a mental note, I want you to remember how you reacted. Obviously, emotionally, these challenges would have been really difficult, but I want you to look at your actions. What was the first thing that you did? Because it feels like this year was trying to teach you to be curious, to look at what else is out there, to look at how other people are doing it, and to look at whether or not this situation is actually right. Is there a feeling of injustice about how you were being treated in that moment? Was your reaction to defend yourself, defend someone else? Or was your reaction to get on Google and look at what else is out there? It reminds me of when you have those hard days at work, right? And as soon as you have the chance, you're on Google looking for another job. It reminds me of when you have those difficult conversations in your friendships or relationships. And one of the first things that I know I would do, I don't do this all the time though, to be completely honest, sometimes, but this is what's coming to mind. I would go on Google or social media and I would just see how other people would approach those conversations. What do they do to address these serious issues? It's not like I needed to copy them, but it was like my mind was looking for a scaffold, was looking for some sort of plan, some sort of experience, a scaffold of how other people had handled that situation. And then I would listen and I would take what they were saying and adapt it to my own values, my own ethos, my own personality. 2025 was encouraging you to do your research, to have a look at what other people are doing so that you could get a scaffold, so that you could look for solutions, ideas, plans, ways of working through your challenges. The whole point of this was to open your mind and to allow you to be curious about what else is out there. What are other people doing? What are other approaches you could take? 2025 was encouraging you to be a student of life and to see your challenges as ultimately opportunities to develop your way of acting, your way of thinking. Now, when we look at your blessings, group 1, your blessings are very much about, sorry, I just had to wipe my nose. Your blessings were very much about liberation and freeing you. We have a number 5 and we have a 15. This was not the year to conform, to repeat traditions, and to adopt other people's practices. Your biggest blessings in 2025 were preparing you for new traditions, new practices, new ways of living. The whole point of what you went through in 2025 and being in this feminine energy was to allow you to be more sovereign. And I hope that that word can be taken for its true meaning. I don't mean to project any political beliefs or aggressive agendas, you know what I mean? I love that word for what it means, but I think that there are some radical people that take it very far, so I just had to cross my T's with that one and explain where I'm coming from. The way that I use sovereign is to describe us as people who have individual needs, individual natures, and it's our responsibility to understand that about ourselves and to find ways that we can coexist with those around us while holding on to who we are. I believe in sovereignty as a way of taking accountability, a way of embracing your individuality, but it should come hand in hand with an idea of community. Whether you choose to live actively as part of a village or by yourself, I believe that everybody should be kind, considerate community members. So with that being said, 2025's blessings were about destabilizing any attitudes, beliefs, and systems that were not helpful for you. They were put in place to oppress you, to keep you trapped. And at times they were simply put in place to give you structure, but they weren't helpful for you. You may have found that it was hard to stick to a routine in 2025, that no matter how hard you tried, your lifestyle felt like it was something that was always changing, that was out of your control. It may have been very hard to exist within a societal structure as well. If you were someone that had to pay a bill at a certain time a month, report at a certain time of the week, it could have felt like it was really hard to meet those demands because life was teaching you to be more fluid, to be more aware of how your energy fluctuates. As a blessing, things happened in 2025 to give you more fluidity, more flexibility, more freedom from these structures, these systems, so that instead of feeling like a slave to the system, oppressed by these external expectations and policies, you were given the chance to either create your own or find a way to exist in the gray, still paying your bills, reporting what you need to report, but doing it without the heavy expectation of it being done a certain way at a certain time. Now, for some of you, you broke free from a really oppressing, toxic routine that was related to work. Whether it means you escaped a job situation that was quite bad for your body, for your mental health, for your nervous system, or if it means that you were able to escape a routine that was slowly taking all the goodness out of your spirit, that was slowly making you more stuck every day. Over time, you realize that this is not right, this is not healthy for you, it's not helpful for you, and it's not beneficial for your future. So the blessing of that was finding a way out, having the courage to leave, and also recognizing that it doesn't work for you. Although it's something that other people can exist in, abide by, and follow in terms of the system, the process, the structure, it doesn't work for you. Now, you may not have had the chance to fully experience this realization. It feels like these blessings were preparing you for 2026, which really helps us naturally move into our next topic. We're going to have a look at how 2025 was preparing you for 2026. This card tells me a little bit. It tells me that your lessons and your blessings in 2025 were preparing you to be able to walk away from these situations with a curious mind, an open mind. You may not have felt confident about where you were walking towards, what you were going to create, how it was going to work out, but you knew very clearly what your limits were, what you needed to change in your life, and why. For your health, for your sense of freedom, and for your personal development. You're more aware of your fluidity, your desire to find a sense of structure or stability that works with your nature, with your energy. You may be someone who doesn't always have the capacity to perform consistently, whether that's because of your health or because of what happened to you this year. And so coming into the new year, there's this strong awareness of, I still have goals. I still have things that I want to achieve, things that I want to work towards, but I can't repeat these cycles. I'm walking away from these practices, these beliefs, and I'm finding what else is out there. So let's get a better understanding of how this is preparing you for 2026. Spirit, how is 2025 preparing Group 1 for 2026? Wow, wow, wow. Look at that. Wow. Yeah. So just from these cards, we can see that 2025 is preparing you for new beginnings in 2026. It's preparing you for the mental clarity, capacity to be able to feel hopeful about the new year, to be able to see the new year as a representation of a fresh start, a new beginning, something that you can turn into a positive step forward. 2025 was preparing you for a baggage-free, fresh start that will impact all aspects of your life, but especially your mindset, your mental health, and the way that you see the world around you. By being in this energy, you're more receptive to opportunities that come your way. However, what happened in 2025 was really allowing you to start thinking about new ideas, to start revisiting your curiosity from a perspective of, what if I actually acted on that? What if I pursued that? What if I turned that into something? What if I made this And what if I took that leap? What happened to you in 2025 was preparing you for a year. Wow. So, sorry, this was very different. I had to stop my sentence because that's not what we're feeling over here. I started my sentence over here. The moon is very different. These two cards are talking about 2026. This card is talking about your feminine energy that you gained in 2025. Interestingly enough, although 2026 represents new beginnings for you, a baggage-free, fresh start, a brand new chapter that can positively raise your aspirations, open doors in many aspects of your life. The feminine energy that you gained in 2025 is something you're taking forward with you. You'll maintain this sense of awareness and mindfulness so that you can ascertain your energy levels, what your gut instinct is telling you, and whether or not you should take action. 2026 is a year in which you still stay in this feminine energy while creating. Because if you step out of it, you're confronted with burnout, a dead end, a lack of motivation, a lack of energy. In 2026, you need to create from your feminine energy. Otherwise, you're going to very quickly be reminded of why. Creating from your feminine energy is about quality over quantity. You don't need to abide by external structures such as timing. Timing is a construct. Your body will tell you when. Your energy, your feelings will tell you when. And this can present different challenges, sweet soul, as you would have learned in 2025. If a bill needs to be paid by the 25th, but you don't have the energy until the 1st, you need to use what you've learned in 2025 to navigate that situation with more awareness, with more foresight. Interestingly enough, 2026 is about practicing the lessons and the blessings you've gained from 2025 so that, yes, you can have your new beginnings, but you're not pushing yourself beyond your capacity. I think it's quality over quantity for most of 2026 for you. And there's a lot of opportunities for you to reflect from when you see this video until you recognize how it's resonating. 2025 is preparing you for the new year by making you more aware of how your emotions, your feelings, your energy affects the outcome. It feels primal, instinctual, ancient, tribal. It reminds me of moon calendars and lunar calendars and when to fish based on what the moon was doing, when to plant, when to sow, when to harvest based on what the weather is doing. This kind of timing is very ancient. And that is how 2025 was preparing you for 2026, by reminding you that as a natural being, you have a natural cycle that you need to honor and be aware of. Your success in 2026 hinges on your awareness of your natural being and how the weather, the moon, the seasons affect your ability to create, to feel, to purge, and to heal. Work with your nature, your awareness, your insight, And don't step outside of your feminine energy simply because external pressures are forcing it upon you. That is how you revisit those cycles of burnout, a lack of motivation, and a lack of capacity. So that is the reading that I have for you here on YouTube, Group 1. I hope that that reading was helpful for you. I'm going to take your reading into the extended now, where we will have a look at a brief summary of 2026 for you. In this reading, we're going to look at it quarter by quarter, or kind of in quarters. The way that I did it in the personal reading is in thirds. So we'll do it third by third, January to April, May to August, September to December. What is happening in 2026 for you? If you would like those extended messages, the link to the extended readings is on my website, and you can find that link below in the description box. Make sure you click on Group 1 of the 2026 reading to have the messages that resonate with your group. If you would like that personal reading, do check my personal readings link. Have a look at what I'm offering in that 2026 reading, as it is much more detailed and it's obviously for you. So it will be about you and your 2026, not your group's 2026, but you as a person. Thank you so much, Group 1, for your time, your energy, and all of your support. I really appreciate you for tuning in. I'm very, very grateful to be able to do what I do. And of course, without sounding too corny, it is because of you. As we part ways, I wish you peace, prosperity, abundance, happiness, health, wealth, success, and joy on your journey ahead. Bye. Hi, Group 2, and welcome to your reading. If you recognize these cards, then you're in the right place. For your reading today, we're asking Spirit for 2026 predictions, and we're basically going to be summarizing your 2025 first in order to help you feel more certain about this prediction and where 2026 is heading. For this predictions reading here on YouTube, we're looking at your lessons and blessings in 2025, and then we're having a look at how that is preparing you for 2026. Your extended reading will look at a brief summary of your 2026 year by addressing it in the trimesters. Now, if your YouTube reading resonates, you are welcome to extend your reading and to claim those additional messages by purchasing or renting your extended reading from my website. And I am also offering personal readings that do an in-depth analysis of 2026. With that spiel out of the way, you can find more info about what products I'm offering or services I'm offering in the description box. Let's focus on YouTube now. I'm going to take a moment to tune into your energy and to make sure that we are setting our intentions for this reading. I always like to do that. Sometimes I do it off camera, so I encourage you in this moment, as I'm choosing to do it on camera with you, just limit your distractions, limit anything else that may be taking your attention or energy, and think about what drew you to this reading. What are you hoping to gain out of this prediction reading today? Spirit, please tune me in to Group 2's energy. Please help me offer Group 2 clear, honest messages about their reading. Angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, please come through clearly with any helpful messages about Group 2's 2025 journey, their blessings, their lessons, and messages about how this is preparing them for 2026. If there's anything that I fail to see or recognize, please allow that information to come through clearly for my viewers so that they may claim those helpful messages. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, let us see. Alrighty. So, Looking at these two cards for you, group 2, it's clear that your 2025 journey has been about cycles with the number 8, transforming cycles, repairing cycles, and even preparing for new cycles. The number 8 also resembles trends, and you feeling like the effort, the work that you're putting in is ultimately paying off and leading towards a more lucrative outcome. I firmly believe that this past year has been about preparing you for further success, even through the challenges, the lessons, and the darker moments. You may really resonate with the themes of the Year of the Snake, and you may really align with those messages about shedding old layers and having to go through changes that required loss, grief, transmutation. The Year of the Snake is also about being prepared by letting go of what no longer serves you. And it seems that 2025 was really preparing you by helping you shed those uncomfortable layers in ways that maybe you weren't wanting to lose some of the things that you lost. Maybe you weren't ready to let go, or you weren't always willing to change. Whether you meant to participate or not, this year was about change. It was about making your life better in the long run. And these changes are so big picture that at times they can feel very destructive and also very almost like they affect multiple things. It's not like a number 5 for change where it can happen fast and it targets one specific aspect of your life. When the number 8 creates change, it affects every aspect of your life, and it often pulls from the root, affecting things that you didn't even think needed to change in ways that you struggle to see until time has passed. So hindsight will allow you to truly see how these changes have occurred and to what extent. But I think that overall, this feels like the kind of change that was very big picture. So with the number 8 spoken for, let's look at Yod. Now Yod is actually an aspect in our natal charts that resembles the finger of God. I believe it's a Hebrew origin, and it also refers to things that feel fated or destined in our charts. If you have a Yod aspect in your chart, the place in which it exists and the planets that it includes can hint at when you feel like things are happening out of your control or divinely. It can also allude to, again, very big picture stuff that feels like you're just a part of it. You know, no person could plan this moment. It's very divinely fated. For this to be a summary on your past year, group 2, you've had a year that felt very out of your hands. There were things that you were aware of. There were ways in which you contributed naturally. I'm a big advocate for main character energy and for accountability as well as free will. I believe that all of these things are important. But for you, especially looking back, it won't feel like it at the time, but as time goes on, and it may even lead into 2026, you're going to look back at 2025 and really feel like a lot of it was divinely orchestrated, out of your control, and happening in ways that was a lot bigger picture than you realized. Now, usually if this happens, it's a blessing. It's an intentional blessing, but it can be long term, because in this aspect of Yod we have Saturn. So even though it is a blessing, it may initially feel like more work, more responsibility. It may initially feel like a big challenge, a big test on your work ethic or on your discipline, a big test on your willingness to adapt and cope under pressure. At the time, it could just feel like you were given too much to handle. And then in hindsight, you can see how that was the only way that you were going to be successful. It was the only way that this was going to work out. So with that being said, let's have a look now at your lessons and blessings. Okay. What cards do I want to use? Yeah, we will use tarot. Spirit, for group 2, to summarize their 2025. Oops. What were their main lessons in 2025? Whoa, okay, we will take it. We have the 3 of Swords reversed. What was Group 2's main lessons in 2025, please, Spirit? Group 2's main lessons. We also have the Devil card. And what were their main blessings in 2025, please, Spirit? Group 2's main blessings. We have the Star card. What were their main blessings in 2025? We also have the World. Wow, so Saturn is very strong here. Aquarius and Capricorn are very dominant. At the back of the deck is the that's the 8 of Pentacles reversed. Interesting. Can I get any other additional messages about these cards for group 2, please, Spirit? Okay, so down here we have the 7th house in between. We have Scorpio reversed, which is on the Star card, and up here we have the Moon sitting right above the 8. So it does seem like a lot of your cycles were either subconscious or very deeply embedded in your emotions, your inner mental layer. That's why it feels subconscious at times. Feels like this year was about confronting some deeply personal fears and also aligning your work ethic and your long-term plans, the things that you were... It's like this year was about aligning your actions, your effort, your consistency with the goals that were important to you from a heart space. So like your sentimental goals, your heartfelt goals. This year was about aligning everything to, your emotional interest, your emotional capacity, your loving heart space, etc. So I do think that with the 7th house down here, there's an interesting test of commitment, partnership as well, your relationships, but also I see the 7th house as the things that we choose to be loyal to. It's how we construct our morals and our ideas of fidelity and loyalty. And that's why I feel like it's so heavily connected to your relationships. In your case, it feels more about what you chose to be loyal to, who you chose to be loyal to, and what you gave a lot of your time and energy to. So let's look at your lessons specifically. We can see that the 3 of Swords reversed talks about you entering 2026 with a feeling of loss and separation. Entering 2025 with a feeling of loss or separation. So most of you may have started the year feeling estranged from somebody you were once close with, whether it was a lover, a friend, family member. This year started with the idea that you needed to heal in separation from somebody you were once close with because your paths no longer aligned. So you started this year feeling like you kind of had a new leaf, making big decisions, for yourself. But I also feel like you had a lot to prove. Whether that was a lot to prove to yourself, your family, it almost feels like you were trying to recover. And in that way, you were contending with some pretty dependent circumstances and personalities. Your biggest lessons were in trying to find balance between the things that you enjoy, the people that you feel devoted to, as well as your own interests and path forward. This year taught you time and time again how to balance your time more purposefully, more meaningfully, so that you didn't slip into patterns of dependency or reliance and addiction. This year taught you how to identify patterns of addiction and dependency, and how to identify when your need for things is not always healthy for you, as well as identifying that in others because of this seventh house. So it wasn't always you that struggled with this. You were noticing it in the people around you as well, the people that you loved or the people that you had to interact with through work, in your community. The biggest lessons were in staying in control and not losing your level of, I want to say stability, but also it just feels like a lifestyle balance. I'm also feeling like this was a work hard, play hard situation where maybe you were really pushing yourself through some exhausting chapters that required a lot of discipline and effort, energy. And coming out of those periods, it may have been easier to try to just, numb or throw yourself into vices. So this was about learning how to take care of yourself sustainably, how to indulge without taking it too far, and how to even prevent that from happening in the first place. I'm hearing prevention is key. So I think that a part of you was very self-aware that this was happening. You could kind of identify, like, this isn't good for me, but it's just what it's just what I need for now. This person isn't healthy for me. This way of eating isn't healthy for me. This amount of medication or substances or whatever it was like you knew it wasn't good, but you did it with the idea of it's just temporary anyway. And so this year showed you how all of those things do add up. And if you allow yourself to reflect on it in depth, you would realize that there were still times where you took it too far and you should have just had that boundary or walked away or not indulged in the first place. But hindsight, right? In the moment, it just felt right. And so when we see the devil show up as a lesson, it's not always about identifying the bad and in the way of making ourselves look bad. It's also about identifying the human, because it is very instinctive and human to dance with the devil. It takes effort, discipline, awareness, and maturity to resist the devil's temptation, whatever that temptation was, because with maturity, effort, discipline, and awareness, we can realize how dancing with the devil always comes at a price. It just depends on how long you dance, what that price may be. So as this year progressed, you started to recognize the price you were paying for these temporary escapes from life. And it may have come at a big price for some of you. With the Three of Swords reversed, it wasn't supposed to keep you trapped for long, but you're the one that had to decide when to free yourself. Other people may have been telling you. Other things that were similar could have been happening in your community, to other people around you, in your social circle, in your family. But this is a deeply personal lesson, and it was up to you to decide when to break free from this cycle and how. And part of that is even making choices that cut off people who enable you. So you may have had to limit your interactions with certain people who kept you feeling trapped in this cycle of temptation and dependence and addiction. So with that being said, let's look at your blessings. Your key blessings in 2025 have been centered around recognizing how far you've come in your personal journey, recognizing how much you've grown as an individual, and identifying the fact that you're ending a major chapter in your life, that you're on the cusp of starting a brand new chapter. And a lot of this was about revisiting your story, your past, and even reconnecting with people from childhood or people who you knew when you were much younger, more naive, more innocent. Your biggest blessing was evolving, and I'm actually just hearing evolution. With Scorpio reversed, this wasn't easy for you, sweets. This involved a lot of emotional changing, a lot of emotional maturity, addressing uncomfortable realizations about the people that you love and how you don't all grow at the same time. You don't all grow together. But it was also about identifying how to stand up for yourself and embrace your own journey moving forward. Some of you may have struggled with, what's that word when you're not comfortable being successful and you try to downplay how successful you are because you don't want to seem arrogant or like a tall poppy who's stealing the limelight. There's a proper word for it. All I can hear is Stockholm Syndrome, but I don't think that's it. It just feels like you weren't always, able to celebrate and embrace the things that you were doing, the achievements that you had, because at times it was about other people. As a blessing, this made you more aware of the people who don't honor you, your uniqueness, your individuality. And it also made you more aware of just how unique you are and how much you need to reconsider the people around you, maybe reevaluating certain relationships as well. This year didn't always feel like a success story, and that's because it was preparing you for success in your next chapter. In order to continue evolving and becoming more successful, you definitely had to shed light on what was either holding you back or keeping you in a state of either denial or just feeling trapped. So your biggest blessing was about either being more aware of that or even cutting cords with somebody or something that was keeping you trapped, was holding you back. It does feel like you have things that are worth celebrating and recognizing as success in 2025. But I also believe that you've only scratched the surface. You're barely peaking. In the next 2 years, you're likely to experience even more success, tangibly, materially, financially, let alone physically and health-wise. So the lessons come hand in hand with the blessings, because in order to continue to be successful and to feel this blessed, you have to learn from these things in 2025 and make sure that you continue to address them early so that they don't get bigger and turn out to be more of a problem or an issue in the future. So with the Eight of Pentacles reversed at the back of the deck, I really feel like this is all saying that your year, 2025 was about breaking certain cycles, identifying what isn't working in your life, in your relationships, recognizing what your capacity is, slowing down at times to address things from the root, and then rebuilding and rediscovering what it is that you want to work towards, that you want to accomplish, that you hope to achieve. And this isn't just about a certain lifestyle and a certain amount of money in your bank account or net worth or asset value. It's about a legacy that comes from your heart, that comes from your values, your morals, and that involves people who share those values, those morals. So let's have a look now at how specifically that was preparing you for 2026. Is there another deck we should use, Spirit? I'm going to use this deck. Spirit, how was 2025 preparing group 2 for 2026? Wow. We have the thread, which is the number, I want to say 70. Yeah. We also have the shaman, which is the number 16. One more card, please, Spirit. Thank you. We also have the father, which is the number 2. And at the back of the deck is the mystic, which is the number 21. Interesting. Can we get any additional messages about how this year was preparing them for next year? Okay. So up here we have Sagittarius. On the shaman we have the 6th house reversed. And then above the father we have Aries, which is also, the planet Mars. I just felt like it was strong Aries energy. To me, there is a strong feeling here of you having a more action-oriented year in 2026. Now, keep in mind, this reading was inspired by the Chinese zodiac, the year of the snake transitioning into the year of the horse. With my basic knowledge, the year of the horse, the new Chinese zodiac year, doesn't begin until that first or second week of February. So although I see you having more action, I see that really kicking into place towards the end of the year. You'll feel more confident about your plans, about your actions, and about the choices that you're making in that last trimester of 2026. 2025 was preparing you for big changes in purpose. It was preparing you for what feels like a redirection of attention and purpose. This could look like a huge change in career with the 6th house, a huge change in how you work towards your personal goals. You are likely to take your health more seriously, and you're also likely to do some pretty big picture things, like if you have those big health checks you want to do, just to double check, just to look into things. Prevention is key. So 2025 was preparing you for 2026 by making you look at things on a bigger picture scale, by making you want to be more careful, more aware, and to try to prevent things that could limit your longevity, your success in life. So I also see with the shaman card here that in 2026 you are likely to either study or to revisit the direction that your career is taking, because you want to make more of a difference. you want to feel like somebody who is evolving, who is taking their responsibilities seriously, and who is actually helping people. So the shaman to me feels like you getting advice from somebody and then essentially becoming the person who can give advice to other people. So either this is about getting qualified or entering a career or a profession where you are helping, training, supporting other people. 2025 was preparing you for this by making you more aware of how systems and practices and policies should be used to help guide those dynamics of power. It made you more aware of how people abuse those dynamics of power and don't always respect the responsibility they have. And it made you want to be a part of it in a more meaningful way. You went through lessons in 2025 that made you more aware of your ethics, your morals, and what is important to you. In 2026, you will have the opportunity to use what you've learned to help other people and to make a difference. And I want to say with the 6th house here, this isn't always about work. Sometimes this is about giving, like charity, generosity, and just helping in your spare time. But for a lot of you, this is about rediscovering what that means for you and making it a part of your lifestyle practice, which is why it feels like a career shift. And so with the Father over here, it is helping you be more, I want to say action oriented just because of Mars. But the Father in this deck is also about having that ability to be more logical, more black and white. The Father still holds compassion and emotion, but knows when and how to use it. As an archetype, this is about knowing when to be logical and rational versus when to be compassionate and heart-driven. So this year, 2025, prepared you for 2026 by making you a more balanced decision maker, by making you more aware of how to steer those important decisions in your future and how to participate in those important conversations, whether you're advocating for yourself or other people. It's also preparing you to be a more critical thinker. Instead of being so open-hearted and empathetic and understanding, you learned to kind of, wait a minute, I need to just pull back and have a look at this objectively. What is this person's bias? What are their reasons for offloading this sensitive information onto me? Do they have an agenda that I'm not aware of because the information they're sharing is so sensitive in nature, it's blinding me? And do I really need to be a part of this conversation, this narrative? So you were prepared for the year ahead by identifying when to be critical and when to really look at the sources of information that were coming your way and how they may have agendas that are attempting to manipulate a story from a specific perspective. And that perspective isn't always aligned with the truth, or it could be a subjective truth. So in 2026, especially in the last trimester, you're going to feel more of a critical thinker who is able to separate other people's perspectives, agendas, bias from your own, so that you can still be successful and feel in your heart like you're doing the right thing, bringing it back to black and white. The mystic means that you are really in a new era of maturation, like you've truly ended a big cycle in your life, group 2. And 2026, I want to say that there are new doors opening, but it's just the start. The best thing you can do is let the year develop with you. Don't aim to finish big things next year. It's just the beginning. It's just the start. That is what I have for you, group 2. I'm going to end your YouTube reading here, and we're going to go into your extended reading. If this YouTube reading has resonated, you're more than welcome to join me in the extended. It does cost, so have a look at the links and have a look at what, if that suits you, the prices for renting and buying your extended reading. If you do purchase your extended reading, you'll be able to download it, which means you'll have access to it all year. If you rent it, I highly recommend that you take notes so that you can access those notes for the rest of the year. Your extended is looking at a brief summary of your 2026 by breaking it down into those trimesters I kept talking about. So we're getting more information about the first trimester, which will be January to April, the second trimester, which will be May to August, and the third trimester, which will be September to December. Now, if you would like more detailed predictions of 2026, I do have personal readings on sale. Have a look at those by checking out the link in the description. Those are more specific and detailed about specific areas of your life, like your career, your love life, and your main themes throughout the year as well. So click on those links if you would like to join me there. As we part ways, group 2, I just want to thank you for being here with me on YouTube. I really appreciate all of your support right here. Thank you for letting me be your reader, even if it was just for this video. And I wish you a beautiful year ahead. I hope that you are able to feel prepared and ready. And I hope that this reading reinforced those feelings. I wish you peace, prosperity, abundance, happiness, health, wealth, success, and joy on your journey ahead. Bye. Hi, group 3, and welcome to your reading. If you recognize this descendant card, then you're in the right place. We're having a look at your 2026 year ahead, but in order to understand how this new year is developing for you, this YouTube reading will start by summarizing your 2025 journey, having a look at the year you've already had, the lessons and the blessings, and specifically how that's preparing you for 2026, the year ahead. Now, if all of this resonates here on YouTube, there will be an extended reading on my website. The extended reading delves deeper into 2026 by getting trimester summaries of what you can expect in 2026. If you want an even more detailed reading of the year ahead, I also have personal readings on my website. Have a look at those links below if you're interested, but let's get into your YouTube reading. I want to open your reading by setting my intentions. Take this time to consider what drew you here. Do you have intentions you need to set? Is there something you're hoping to gain from this prediction reading? And are there any unresolved questions you have about the past year that we may be able to answer in this YouTube reading? Spirit, please tune me into group 3's energy. Please help me offer group 3 clear, honest messages about their year that is past and the year that will come. Angels, ancestors, and spirit guides, please come through with clear, honest messages about Group 3's 2025 lessons and blessings, and how that is preparing them for 2026. And if there's any information I fail to recognize, please allow it to come through clearly for the viewer so that they may gain the information and insight from those messages. Thank you. Okay. So looking at Descendant, I do feel like your past year has really encouraged you to look back. Descendant to me resembles where you come from. It resembles the strong anchors of experiences and things that you've been through that help define who you are likely to become, for better or for worse. It reflects the kind of maybe upbringing you're likely to have, and also what those defining moments look like for you in life, how they shape who you become when you get older, and how they shape the person that you strive to be as you keep growing. So while your ascendant and your rising sign looks like the kind of person that you are during like first impressions and the type of person you are without really thinking, the descendant to me is the type of person that you try to grow out of, the type of person that you almost try to leave behind, the version of yourself that you at times deject and go, I'm not that way at all. And yet there are times when you may look at your descendant sign and go, oh, I'm definitely in that energy right now. So it's not about labeling yourself as a good or bad person, but it's just about knowing more about who you are and how you may act in certain situations. As a theme for the past year, this really feels like you have had to come to terms with all aspects of who you are, for better or for worse. You've had a deeper awareness of some of the traits that you don't always enjoy about yourself, but that doesn't make you a bad person. The whole point of this journey was to make you more aware and to make you more self-aware of who you are and of how you tend to react or act in specific situations. With that being said, this descendant energy is also aiming at making the year feel like it is leading to something more. The experiences you went through in 2025 could have at times felt like it was making you move backwards, like you were kind of stuck or repeating cycles. But really, it was a chance to revisit anything and to resolve it and to learn from it so that you could prepare to move forward. Our past also shows us a lot about who we are. And maybe this was a good year for you to realize more about the type of person you want to be based off of who you are and what you've been through in the past. I feel like this was a good year to be more aware of your shadows. And this also makes me think of Lilith and those parts of ourselves that react on impulse, desire, and instinct. Those parts of ourselves that are often shamed or shunned. And we feel guilty when we witness them, but really, it's still a part of who we are. As a theme, this is an interesting card to have. You can see how I'm trying to take my time to describe what I feel for you, because in many ways it resembles going back, although it was preparing you to move forward. Is there anything else I can share before I pull tarot, Spirit? I think the only other thing with this card is that 2025 was definitely a year of reflection. You were supposed to have many opportunities to just pause and go, geez, what the heck was that about? You know what I mean? And for that reason, I feel like this could have been a year that felt like you were almost out of your body a little bit. Like things were just happening to you, or things were almost out of your control. Like you weren't even a main character, you were an avatar. It could have felt like you had some out-of-body experiences where you were just watching the situation unfold and looking at how you were acting and reacting and going, what the heck? Why am I doing that? Why am I saying that? Instincts may have really kicked in, and it could have felt like you were just not even in control, just watching through the eyes of your vessel. Also having to repeat experiences you've already been through before and wondering why. I've already been through this in life. I've already learned this lesson. Why is this dragging out? Why are we doing it again? What does this have to do with anything? What is the point, right? Descendant can be frustrating because it can also make us feel stuck. But it does serve a point in making us more self-aware and reflective and helping us revisit things just in case there's something we can gain from that interaction, experience, moment. So let's get some tarot out now. Spirit, for my group 3s, in 2025, what were their main lessons? What was group 3's main lessons in 2025? What was group 3's main lessons in 2020? Okay. We have the King of Wands reversed. What was group 3's main lessons? Okay. We also have the Knight of Pentacles. What were their main blessings in 2025, Spirit? We have the Page of Wands. And we also have the King of Pentacles. At the back of the deck is the Death card. Wow, so big year. Big year for change. This is an interesting reading because honestly, every group that I've read has been through the same sort of theme, just in different ways. So it was definitely a big year for endings and new beginnings. For you guys, it feels like you're in that awkward phase where new things have started, but key endings are still occurring. So while you're trying to start new things and get these new things going, you're still kind of processing endings and finalizing those endings. And so it feels messy, and it feels like it's just drawing all kinds of emotions. There's mixed feelings here for sure, bittersweet feelings. This year definitely felt like a year where you were shedding layers. It feels like a year that refined you as a person. It also helped refine certain relationships by bringing key feelings to the surface and making you realize how you truly feel about each other. But it also feels like it put a lot of strain on certain relationships as well. It was a year where you went through weird tests, and it felt like you were telling yourself, look, this is a very weird situation, an unusually specific situation. If I can just get through this test, this moment, this situation, it'll be fine. You were telling yourself, like, these moments shouldn't define everything. This is just a weirdly specific and challenging moment. And in many ways you were right, but in other ways that was your chance to end certain things before it gets worse. Because those testing moments were highlighting reoccurring issues. And so you had to decide in that moment, what am I willing to allow and what am I wanting to change? And really those moments were about change. And relationships take work because it's not about one person wanting something. You both have to work on it. So you learned what you're willing to work on and what they're willing to work on. And while some things change, Spirit's saying some things will stay the same simply because they don't get better. And I don't mean to be morbid, but I am making a prediction that some people in your life just don't want to change. They aren't ready. They take things slowly and they don't move at your pace. So you have to be very careful about what you choose to self-sacrifice. Those were the biggest lessons in 2025. And death is Scorpio, it's complicated. You don't just give up. You don't just admit defeat, you fight. All Scorpios fight. They stand their ground, they fire up, they protect, they defend. Just be careful of what you're defending. Who are you protecting? Over here with the King of Wands reversed, your biggest lesson was to actually be more selfish. But you may have people around you that really took that from you. You may have people around you who kind of stole your thunder. You stole your moment, stole your ability to have that moment. And what is being shown to me is like, imagine you're having a really hard day. I mean, I'm sorry to put you in that headspace, but you're having a really hard day and somebody else around you kicks off and goes, ugh, my day's horrible. I've had all of this happening and it just sucks and I'm so sick of it and blah, 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 blah. And then they get all the attention from you, from everybody else. And so your opportunity to rant, to vent, to express frustration doesn't happen. And then it builds like an undercurrent of tension. It builds. 2025's lesson was about trying not to let things build. Let it out when you feel it, address it when it's an issue. Don't suppress it. It leads to resentment. It leads to bitterness. It leads to unaddressed tension that creates bigger challenges. And the whole point of this ongoing lesson was to try to show you how you deserve to show up for yourself in these rooms, in these environments, in these situations, in these dynamics. This was an interesting year in which you were supposed to recognize how much you need those opportunities to decompress. Whether it is about yelling and shouting for 2 minutes so that you feel better for the rest of the week, or making time for yourself to do your interests, your passions, so that you don't resent the people that you choose to give your energy to for having that opportunity. These were lessons in how to limit resentment, bitterness, and a lack of self-planning, self-invested energy. So that long term, with this Knight of Pentacles here, you were taking care of yourself enough to show up in the ways that are important to you. As a Knight of Pentacles, this is telling me, Group 3, that you're a very generous, giving, kind-hearted person who enjoys spending time with the people you care about. You enjoy acts of service. You enjoy taking care of the people around you and investing in their futures, the future of your relationships. In order to do that well, you need your outlets. You need your time to be selfish, because it's not at all selfish. It's basic self-care. This year was a big lesson in long-term self-care and in really preparing for the future that you want, whether that's health, financially, in terms of family practices, cultural practices. The Knight of Pentacles is about locking in and knowing when to be disciplined, when to stick to the rules, when to be a bit of a stickler and, not always fun, but got to do it anyway. It's important. It'll pay off in the long term. These lessons were also about delayed gratification. Sometimes what's best for you in the long term isn't what's fun for you now in the short term. It's not going to pass the time now, but it is worth investing in. This is a lesson in delayed gratification and having the discipline to stick to those long-term goals, having the discipline to save the money that you need, to not overindulge, whether we're talking about eating, spending, time. This was about having that routine in place, that practice in place, so that you're consistent over time in order to achieve that goal. As a lesson, it's hard. It takes discipline. We're only human, but the reward is worth it. And it's not all serious. If we plan this well, we get those moments of joy along the way. So looking at your blessings over here, you had an opportunity to do something that you were very interested in. It was out of your comfort zone. You don't often get to do this. It was a new experience for you, actually, group 3. And it gave you the chance to try something you haven't really done before. It could have involved music, traveling, creative interests, and being around a crowd of people or a group of people who shared your creative interest. You had the choice on whether to make this a social thing or if it was more of a solo journey where you got to do it just because you wanted to. And you also had the choice to continue to do this. This was a blessing because it really brought you back to life. It made you more passionate, more interested. It put more momentum and motivation towards your hobbies. And it seemed to give you something to look forward to during the year. And it also, brought a passion back to life and is now giving you more things to consider for the new year. Although this wasn't something you'd had experience doing before, you left that experience feeling like this is definitely something you want to do again. With the King of Pentacles here, you guys likely had financial blessings in 2025, a large sum of inheritance money or a raise, a promotion, recognition of your hard work, becoming qualified, self-managed, self-employed, significant changes to your finances, career, and overall wealth that helped you feel more successful, more in control, and more prepared for whatever life may throw at you. These financial blessings are things that you've kind of taken in your stride. And while they offer you financial security, it feels like you redirected it towards your values. And that's why the Knight of Pentacles was a challenge for you, a lesson for you. Yes, these financial blessings are wonderful, but what are you going to do with them? Can you invest them? Can you develop them? You may have struggled with your work ethic in 2025. And even though you were being rewarded and given this boost in recognition and money, it could have felt like you just couldn't stick to a devoted work ethic or a dedicated work ethic in 2025. It could have felt like it was really hard for you to be consistent with your routine, and it could have even felt like you had the tendency to give more than what you were actually getting from other people. And so it does feel like you spent a lot of money on other people in 2025. You may have been able to buy yourself one sort of meaningful, expensive gift, but I think that you spent a lot more money than you meant to on other people and taking care of them and putting their needs first. And I think that's what made you realize how much you love supporting and giving to the people that you care about. So these gifts were a blessing because they made you more aware of who you are as well, and of your love language, your dynamics with the people that you love. Let's have a look at how all of this was preparing you for 2026 now. Okay, Spirit. How is 2025 preparing Group 3 for 2026? How is 2025 preparing them? Okay, we have the Sun. We also have the Queen of Wands. How is this preparing them for 2026, Spirit? Okay. We also have the Four of Pentacles. At the back of the deck is the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Spirit, what is the main message here? Can we get more clarity? Okay, down here we have Neptune. Over here we have Libra on the Descendant card. It is reversed. And we also have the number 8. So you went through a lot of cycles. 8th house energy is very strong. Scorpio and Pluto are also strong. Just having a sip of my tea. I feel like 2025 was preparing you for 2026 by trying to show you what is important to you. You may have set out to achieve a lot more than what you were able to in 2025. And so more than anything, this past year has been teaching you patience, evaluation, and having the wisdom and grace to be able to let go of things that you can't control and to know when to redirect your energy, your time, your money towards other things. I feel like in 2026, there will be this feeling of I'm not moving forward the way that I wanted to. Life isn't progressing as I expected it to. And you're pinning that on an idealization that you had when you were much younger, when you were a child. And now you're looking at it and you're going, is it too late to change? Will I actually ever be happy to live like this? Or do I need to do something about it now before it gets worse? So while many people shed skin in 2025 with the year of the snake, and that skin resembled layers and layers of things that just wasn't working, you're continuing to do that in 2026 in order to actually start fresh and get things moving the way that you want it to. You've got more to lose in 2026, and I hope that that doesn't sound scary, because it's coming from your inner child. It's only happening because on the inside, this is what you wanted. This is the wish you made to yourself when you were very little. And yes, you were younger. Yes, you were a little bit naive, but your nature is still the same. Your inner child resembles your true nature. And over the last 5 years, you've changed. You've gone against this nature. So in 2026, you're going to need to confront this reality for what it is. You're going to need to look it dead on and realize, goodness, I'm not happy. There's more that I want than this. And 2025 was preparing you to be able to look at yourself objectively without taking it too personally, without deflecting and defending and being so quick to emotionally react. When these big questions pop up in 2026, instead of feeling emotional, you're going to feel numb. You're going to be like, geez, I remember when I cared more. I remember when this was actually a real thing that I actually cared about and would get upset at. And now it just feels like I don't. And what does that mean? Did I ever care? Was it ever really a thing that I wanted? Or was it just something that I was naively forcing myself to be happy about? Now, this isn't happening just to make you feel guilty or negatively towards your past. This is happening to give you options. Group 3, try not to blame yourself for too long. And I would actually, let's just say, don't blame yourself at all. Skip that phase. Go, this is what that crazy hermit lady was telling me about. This is the universe giving me options. Instead of blaming my past self for doing what happened and I can't even change it anyway, what options are happening? How is this showing me that, yes, I'm not happy, but what else can I do about it? I want to say, trust your instincts. Your heart is unreliable. You have the tendency to make big moments in your life about other people because you care, because you love. Trust your instincts. In 2026, your heart is unreliable. Your instincts are telling you to look after yourself. Your heart is still telling you to protect other people. Who's protecting you? Who's looking after your inner child? Who has your true nature as their best interest? Who's strongly advocating for what you actually need? Because it should be you. Nobody else is. With the Queen of Wands here, this year is the year that you are supposed to really, like, how do I word this? Like, come alive. 2025 was preparing you for a year that you shine in 2026. You are supposed to feel confident. You are supposed to feel ready. You are supposed to feel like throughout the year, whatever happens, you've got this. 2025 threw some crazy curveballs your way. I can tell you with every confidence that 2026 is not going to be the same. You've elevated beyond that. But in order to truly consider all the opportunities that are coming your way, you need to advocate for yourself. Instead of sacrificing for others, ask yourself, what can I do to make this really successful for me? You're the opposite of a selfish person, group 3. You're someone who should care more about themselves. Because even when you try to be selfish, you're still very empathetic, considerate, and understanding to the people around you. This is a year for you to step into your confident, self-assured, self-driven energy, and things will come to you easily in 2026. It's just up to you whether you're ready or not to embrace it and to really cultivate and say yes to those opportunities. This year is about things coming to you easily. You're a magnet for success. You're a magnet for opportunity. This is also a year when you get a physical glow up. You feel more confident, more comfortable in your skin, more attractive. You feel like the clothes you're wearing, the hair that you have on your head, whether it is yours or not, is embodying this persona of confidence. You will get more compliments for the way that you look, for the way that you act, for the way that you react. People are noticing this glow up, and it will feel like it's taken a long time for you to get here, but you're finally shining, you're finally thriving, and you're in this dynamic energy of, how am I peaking but things are still developing? And that's what continues to fuel your confidence. You will see signs of success even as your plans, your outcomes are still developing. So you'll be looking at the success and going, oh my God, it's still growing though. This is beautiful, but it's still growing. So the more success is just going to continue to come your way in 2026. Now your success is energetic. There are blocks here in your habits and with the way that you invest time and spend money. 2025 was preparing you for a shift in lifestyle so that you can be more realistic with what you spend, with how you make money, and with the ways in which you invest your time and your money. I would argue that in 2026, you do need to look at ways that you can put more effort in, put more effort towards your goals, put more money towards your goals, put more effort in at work. If you have a goal to save a certain amount of money or to have a certain amount of money for something, put more effort in 2026. That is a quick way to be rewarded. You need to be aware of how you don't push yourself enough and of how you fall into a lack of routine really easily. In 2026, it's easy for you to take it slow. And while it's important that you listen to your body, I'm always an advocate of that. Listen to your body. Don't push yourself too far. As somebody who constantly does, I need to say this to myself more. Don't push yourself too far, but it's too easy for you to lose routine, to lose momentum, to lose motivation. And before you know it, your habits completely change. So 2026 is about developing habits and sticking to them so that you are on track and so that you are actually seeing your progress, your effort. It takes discipline, it takes time, it takes consistency. But that is what 2025 was preparing you for. And ultimately, this is the next stage of your development. You are technically ready for it, and it will happen when you are ready for it. That is what I'm seeing for you on YouTube, Group 3. Thank you for your time, your energy, and all of your support. I'm going to take this into the extended reading now, where we'll get a brief summary of 2026 by breaking it down into trimesters. So here on YouTube, we mostly covered your journey throughout 2025 and how that's preparing you for 2026. The extended reading looks at detailed predictions of each trimester, and the link to that is down below. Make sure you click on Group 3 if you're joining me there. I also offer personal readings that will give a more detailed personal prediction of what 2026 will look like for you. If that sounds interesting, the link to my personal readings is also in the description box below. If this is where we're parting ways, thank you, Group 3, for all of your time, your energy, and your support in this video and in 2025 in general. I appreciate you. As we part ways, I wish you peace, prosperity, abundance, happiness, health, wealth, success, and joy on your journey ahead. Bye.